What's going on, guys? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking us on out. Much appreciated. You're beautiful, and I love you. Miami Heat. Oof, I needed that one, man. Needed that one for my soul after this weekend from hell and, concussions and Dolphins losing streak and the Heat losing at the buzzer to Halliburton. I needed a nice little vintage Heat shorthanded win. A little we have enough coming through with no Jimmy, no Bam, no Dwayne Dedman, no size. And you go into this game against, Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert. You might gazillion first-round picks for 10 points. Much needed. And especially, let me tell you something right now. For whatever reason, since the Heat have gotten Jimmy Butler, they don't beat the damn Wolves. And so that was much needed in a lot of ways. Felt like you need to snap that. I remember seeing them in the preseason. And it was doing the pregame, and it was the game where they started Bam and Omer Yurtseven together. And you were we're trying some stuff, but man, Anthony Edwards, he is impressive. I mean, he really is one of the impressive young players in this league. But he did a great job tonight. They forced a lot of turnovers. They had some sloppy play from the Timberwolves. This game ending on a turnover, so that was an appropriate thing. And you really felt like the Miami Heat out-hustled, outdid everything they could tonight to bring forth an effort. This was a vintage kind of one of those games where they scrapped everything together and certainly got what they needed down the stretch. Of course, it was going to be another clutch game, and of course, it was going to be another one of those situations where it's coming down to the wire, and you got to just deal with having to go through and get to these last second games. Erik Spoelstra is out here telling Heat Nation, embrace this.
No, we're not there, but we're developing the right perseverance and grit. And since we're in these kind of games every single night, when we play it, there's not a sense of panic. What we talked about, this morning is, you just have to embrace this level of competition. I think the fans, Heat Nation, should enjoy this, embrace it. These games, all of them haven't gone the way we want them to, but ultimately this is what you want, are to have these thrilling games. And
it's like, all right, listen, when the great Erik Spoelstra speaks, when he says, let's not go through one of these situations. Tonight wasn't that situation of like great fluctuation. I think that's the thing that's frustrated Heat fans more than anything. It's not the idea that the Heat are always in last second games, which they are. I think it's like 23 clutch games so far this year. It's having and growing these leads and then just seeing them erase and getting back into clutch situations. That is the thing that has frustrated the fan base thus far, more so than just every game feeling like it's close, every game feeling like it's do or die. Every it giveth on Friday night against the Pacers, or taketh a Friday night against the Pacers. It giveth tonight, where you're able to pull away with a victory against a Timberwolves team. I think a lot of teams obviously they don't have Karl Anthony Towns. The Heat didn't have their two best players, Cry Me a River. But it's one of those things where, it makes the losses more frustrating. It makes the losses hard to swallow. And, sometimes even if it's against a team you describe as lesser than that the Miami Heat are taking on, you look at it and you say to yourself, how far is this team along? Like, you just want, some easy ones every now and then. But if the coach says, embrace it, I guess we got to embrace it, because that probably means that he looks at it and says, this isn't going anywhere so far. But a couple of good things did come out of this. And I really, really love what I saw tonight from Orlando Robinson. He was absolutely tremendous, providing a lot of what Miami needs. And I think that, you look at his game tonight and you think about what the handful he's going to have with, Rudy Gobert and Naz Reid played excellent for them tonight, and honestly was the better center. Orlando giving you 15 points and 9 rebounds, super efficient night. Erik Spoelstra actually he described him in this performance as the player of the game.
Yeah, he was the player of the game. He's the one that brought us in, tonight, and He's very steady. Everybody's coaching him, teaching him, screaming at him, yelling at him, directing him, and everything in between. And he's very stable. He can take the information, process it, and apply it. And he really works, every single day to be able to produce, and be ready for these kind of moments. I would say arguably he's the most improved since Summer League of all the guys that we've had. And this is about, I think, his third or fourth impactful game with his minutes. It doesn't necessarily lead to these kind of stats, but it shows you that he's slowly earning the trust of the team.
He's been very, very impressive. And yeah, he doesn't feel like that demeanor is kind of cool with him the entire way, but is providing a lot of that grit that they want. And look, like that backup big position is gonna be vital for Miami. Probably would have been Omer Yurtseven if he was healthy. The metrics with Dwayne Dedmon have not been great. To his defense, he has been battling some real health issues all year. It doesn't look like he can get up and down the floor. It barely looks like he can jump. So clearly Dwayne's going through some stuff, and that's clearly a place on this team that does need improvement. And if you can get some production from a young guy, I think that the Heat do have to wrap their arms around it and embrace it from them, because he's looked really, really good. He's looked really, really good. And that was great to see tonight for sure. And them taking care of the basketball in a big way, them sharing the basketball in a big way. Your backcourt tonight, Tyler didn't have the best shooting night because he's been an absolute, heater lately, but he first of all, he had a super clutch basket late with that fadeaway. But went out there tonight, dished out 8 assists. Kyle Lowry tonight, he gave you 18 points and 9 assists. So that was very, very encouraging that these guys were really getting everybody involved. And then you look at your kind of key role guys that you've been looking to all year. Max Strus, big bounce back game for him. 5 of 10 from downtown. Really, really needing that kind of a performance from him to get his confidence right, to get his mind right. And Gabe Vincent, finally back, was, getting some really, really tough buckets for this team, was aggressive, getting inside. So that was huge to see as well. All of those things, I think, really contribute to a big way. And then Duncan Robinson, I thought this was interesting. Duncan hit his 800th career three. He finished with 802, and he's now 5 away from passing Tim Hardaway. And he became the fastest player in NBA history to 800 threes, which was really, really impressive. But this was from the Miami Herald, from Anthony Chang. Duncan Robinson entered shooting just 32.2% from three-point range this season, his lowest percentage since his rookie year. But he has shot 16 of 42. That's 38% from deep in his last 5 appearances. The Heat has outscored opponents by 38 in Robinson's minutes during that 5-game stretch. So he's been providing some really, really valuable production for Miami. And that's good to see, because we talk about like the backup bigs, the role players, the depth, the shooting. All of those things are important for this team to round into form, especially whenever they get the health together with their main 4 players, with Tyler and Kyle and Jimmy and Bam. They're going to need that production from elsewhere. They're going to need that supplemental help from elsewhere. And I think that tonight was a night where you got a lot of good signs from all over the place around the roster to get themselves a nice win. They got to wrap up the homestand. It'll be boots on the ground for that one against the Lakers. They're 1-2 on this homestand. You certainly would like to get the split before you head out to a really tough road trip where, you're talking about taking on the likes of Denver and Utah and the LA Clippers, and then the Lakers again, the Suns again, before coming home with really what's going to be a Big East measuring stick against the Nets and a couple against the Bucks. So this is a really, really tough part of the schedule that's coming up for Miami, and I think they need it. I think it's a good time to start to kind of crank things up. If health can get right, they'll be on the practice. They're going to have a rare practice this week before the Lakers game, which is nice. And, this, probably next, we're talking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This next 10-game stretch, and even you could, venture on into some of the games further than that, but let's just say this next 10-game stretch is going to be very, very vital. You're 17-17 right now. That'll put you at, over half the season. You're going to be talking about in that time period of contracts becoming more tradable. So you're talking about what's probably going to be embarking on the most important 10-game stretch of the season and really taking the temperature of finally, what is this Heat team going to be? What direction are they going in? Do they sell? Do they buy? Do they believe in themselves? All that stuff is probably going to be answered within the next 10 games.